Hey there, how you doing? It's Baltimore and I am here with Total Geek Live Presents. I am going to be talking to you today about the Marvel Comics event Infinity. This is a 2013 series, limited series by Jonathan Hickman, the writer, with art by Jim Chang, Dustin Weaver, and Jerome Opena. Um, I have to say, start off with, I really love Jonathan Hickman's work. I love that it's cerebral, that it's thought-provoking, that it's not just a general run-of-the-mill comics fare. So I really enjoy that, and I really think he's kind of hitting it out of the park in a lot of the stuff that he did for Marvel. Partly due to its being an expansive story, starting back with his Fantastic Four work, moving on to his Avengers work, to where he basically ends with Secret Wars, the huge mega event that basically ended the Marvel Universe. But first, let's talk about Infinity. It was a really interesting event, and I like that it was basically kind of like a twofold story. A lot of it took place out in space. The rest of it took place on Earth and the Moon, adjacent, and it was really fascinating. So what happens is the Avengers at this point are a really massive group of uh, massive team, basically. There's about like 16 or 17 members. They had to go big, which is the thought about this volume of Avengers. So it follows them as they go to space to confront the builders who are responsible for, building the universe and the multiverse and all of that kind of stuff. There's destructions happening and worlds destroyed. So they're trying to stop it and figure it out and what's going on. So the Avengers go out to space. They go to confront these builders, and it doesn't go quite like they think it's going to. They are vastly outnumbered and vastly outpowered. They're pretty soundly defeated at the beginning with the builders, and they have to kind of recoup and lick their wounds for the most part. There are a lot of team members that are actually captured after this point. So that's a pretty big, kick in the for them. So while the Avengers are off planet, there's a lot of stuff going on. The villains kind of take notice of them being off planet, and one villain in particular who you will be hearing a lot of in the coming months is Thanos. Thanos and his Black Order, who you'll also be hearing about soon in the movies, come to Earth as the Avengers are off planet. Basically, the planet's defenders are gone, so they're going to take advantage of that and come to Earth and do what they kind of do, which is not good for the planet. So each of the Black Order, the 5 members there, they go after the Illuminati members. And the Illuminati is a group of clandestine heroes who are guarding the planet and the Infinity Gems. So each of them is supposed to have an Infinity Gem that they are protecting and taking care of and keeping out of, Thanos' grasp. So each of the Black Order members come to Earth. We have Black Panther versus Black Dwarf, which is a huge hulking, figure with a big axe. So they are fighting off against each other. You have Doctor Strange and Ebony Maw, and Ebony Maw is like a parasitic, psychic character, and he goes in and kind of manipulates people, and that's his shtick, and he gets in Doctor Strange's head, and it's pretty bad. Then you have Beast, who has one of the Infinity Gems at the Jean Grey School, and he is attacked by Corvus Glaive and Supergiant. So they are fighting on the Jean Grey School, and of course, he has all the X-Men to back him up. So that's actually a pretty fun fight. Then you have Namor versus Proxima Midnight, and she is battling him in the ruins, basically, of Atlantis. And so that's a big battle there. It's pretty cool battle between them. So now we also have Corvus Glaive heading up to Atalan and fighting Black Bolt, and he gives him an ultimatum. Either you give me the heads of all Inhumans between 16 and 22 years of age, or I will destroy the Earth and all its population. And so Black Bolt, he's no fool. He's a king for a reason. And he decides to really, fight back against him and really try to figure out what's behind this. Why does he want this information? And it turns out Thanos got a little busy and got a son out of this. And he's been trying to find his son for quite a while, but not as a loving daddy, situation. He wants to kill him. He doesn't want his progeny to be alive. So he's gone through a lot of inhuman communities, secret inhuman communities, and done the same thing. Children between 16 and 22 killed, dead, because he doesn't want his progeny to come back and fight him. So Black Bolt realizes that this is what he's doing, and so he decides to not let this happen, and he is going to destroy Attilan before Thanos and the Black Order can get what they want. And he's not really sure where the Inhuman son of Thanos is, but he's not going to let them find out. So we'll go quickly back to the space, and the Avengers are meeting up with the Galactic Council, and they are basically the heads of all the galactic empires and so forth, and they're also trying to stop the Builders too. So they're teaming up together and trying to figure out how to defeat the Builders and the Ellipse and all the bad things that they're going to eventually bring forth across the universe. And they actually get a partial victory against the Builders and get back their teammates that were imprisoned, which is a good thing until more Builder ships arrive, and they're again in a point where they're not going to be able to win the fight. And it's pretty sad moment there to see them. Oh my gosh, this is what we're up against. Live or die, man. So we have Doctor Strange back on Earth going to find out where this Inhuman child is, and Ebony Maw is along for the ride. Yep, he's kind of attached himself to Doctor Strange and his mental debacle, and he's followed him to a secret Inhuman village in Greenland, where we, lo and behold, find Thane, who is the son of Thanos, living out a normal life, for the most part, unaware of his parentage. And then part of what happens when Black Bolt destroys Attilan is he releases all the Terrigen. So all the Terrigen is exploded, and it basically causes global Terrigenesis almost immediately, Thane included. And so Doctor Strange goes off without knowing that he revealed Thane's location. And Thanos immediately comes to Earth to find him and to basically destroy the rest of the Earth, because what else is Thanos going to do but, destruction everywhere. So we have that going on, and then we have basically Black Panther has a city of the dead called the Necropolis, which is basically the translation for it, and he is king of the dead, of the ones that are there, and he is going to try to take on and defeat the rest of the Black Order and stop them from invading and stop the problems that they're causing on Earth, while the other Avengers are out in space stopping the Builders. It's kind of like a twofold war, so to speak. So we have Captain America and Thor in space, and Thor basically gives a false surrender to the Builders so that he can get in and infiltrate, kind of a Trojan horse situation. And he's able to basically rally the troops, get them all together, and defeat at least that portion of the Builders kind of wholesale, with a lot of the Avengers and the Galactic Council's help. However, their victory is short-lived when they're informed that the Earth has fallen to Thanos, and fallen in a bad way, and they have to rush to Earth, as quick as one can rush to Earth from across the galaxy. So in comics, that's just like that. So they come back to Earth to stop, the wars, Thanos, and stop whatever's happening there, because they don't quite know all the events that are going on. They fight the Black Order in the Necropolis, where in Wakanda, and they're basically able to stop him and hold him off. And there is a anti-bomb that is created by Maximus and Black Bolt, and Supergiant is going to be releasing it and destroying everything. And before that happens, Maximus teleports her to a distant planet where it goes off and presumably kills the planet and her. That's how they handled that situation. And then you have Thane, realizing his powers and what he can do, with one hand he can kill people, and with the other hand he can put them in amber and heal them. So basically, it's a life-death situation in his hands. And he basically puts Thanos in this living amber, basically a living death, um, along with a couple of the other Black Order characters. And what ends up happening is, at the end of this event, Thanos is in amber. A couple of his other Black Order people are in amber, and the heroes have to decide what they want to do with him. How they're going to keep him protected. How they're going to keep him, from causing more damage. And they basically keep him in the necropolis, imprisoned in Wakanda. And Black Panther is kind of keeping an eye on them and watching them, making sure that they don't cause any trouble or get out or whatever. And you can only pause Thanos for so long before something happens and he gets out, and it's gonna be not very fun when he gets out, because it never is. So that's kind of how that went. And so basically the whole story is, it's only 6 issues in 2013, and it was basically kind of like the first year of his Avengers run. So there are a lot of new concepts going on, new things happening, and I really like this event. It was short, sweet, but with a lot of impact. One of the things that happens after the end of this event is you have the Inhumans and the global Terrigenesis. You have the Terrigen cloud going around the Earth and activating all these latent Inhumans, people who crossbreeded or whatever with Inhumans and humans and their progeny. And if you have the Inhuman gene, you are possibly going to wind up in a cocoon and are given powers. And it's was Marvel's answer to not being able to really have control of all the mutants. So this is a kind of a corporate mandated sort of thing, which sort of left a bad taste in people's mouths. But I've always enjoyed the Inhumans. I like them. I want to like them more. But when they kind of took over the mutants shtick, it wasn't very good, and the level of storytelling wasn't as great. Pushing up the Inhumans as you're pushing down the mutants never really set well with a lot of the fans. But that's something that's still having ramifications today, throughout the Marvel universe. So there were quite a few tie-ins, as Marvel events do, a lot of tie-ins, but actually I really liked them a lot. They had 2 of them that are really particularly great. One is called The Hunt, which was about all the children, superpowered children in schools around the globe, had to, come together in a contest of champions. So you had students from the Braddock Manor Academy, Jean Grey School, the Avengers Academy, the Latvian School, the Wakandan School. So all these different classes of kids coming together in a battle. And I really liked it because I love seeing that, there's not just the Jean Grey School or the Avengers Academy. You have, it would make sense that there are more students around the globe. So that was a lot of fun to see, and it was a really, really fun mini. Only 4 issues, so I would definitely check that one out. The other is The Heist. And basically the villains, Iron Man's villains, decide that, oh, well, Iron Man's not here, let's pull off a big heist on Stark Tower. So they go through and try to do this, and of course they don't really succeed very well. And because Terrigenesis is happening, one of the members of that crew, Blizzard, ends up getting in a cocoon. So he comes out of it and he has powers. Shocking. They're exactly the same powers he's been using for the last, however long he's been around. So that was kind of really? But anyway. And then you have a lot of the other ongoing issues that have tie-ins to this, like the Mighty Avengers was a fun one because you have them fighting off against the Black Order, and I had a lot of fun characters that I really liked in the group there. So this was a really, really fun event. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a really good, when you think about events kind of leading into another and leading to another, there's a point where you get event fatigue, and it's like, oh, well, this event caused this event, and this event caused this event. And while there's a little bit of that to this event, I really think it does stand on its own merits. and that's partly due to Jonathan's writing. I think he was very good about creating the story and feeling about, okay, if this is a step in my story, what do I need it to do, and how do I make sure it happens in an organic way? And he, aced it on that regard. So I definitely suggest picking this up. It's a fun read. It's very beautiful, great artwork, and the storytelling is really, really fun and exciting too. Because there's a lot of these stakes that you're like, wow. So I would absolutely urge you to read Infinity if you haven't yet. And if you do, tell me what your favorite parts were. Did you enjoy the tie-ins? Did you enjoy the main series? What were the best parts for you? Sound off below in the comments, and like, share, and subscribe. And as always, it's all geek to us. And I'll see you soon.